Charles, where are you? Your people are shouting, crying, begging for help, and yet you stand silent while this country is torn apart. What good is a crown if it doesn't defend the nation? What good is a king if he will not stand with his people? This land is not theirs to destroy. It belongs to the people, the workers, the mothers, the fathers, the veterans, the builders, the farmers. We carried this island through wars, through hardship, through centuries of struggle, and we will not watch it be handed away by weak men in suits. Your duty is not to them, Charles. It is to us, to Britain, to the very soul of this nation. If you will not rise, if you will not speak, then you will show the people that the crown has become nothing but decoration. So hear us now. Your people demand action. We demand a king who protects his country. Britain is calling, Charles. Answer, or history will remember your silence.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Unite the Kingdom to Restore Britain. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jay, otherwise known as Jay the Soul Coach, and I'm just a working class East London boy who believes deeply in the values, traditions and institutions that shaped this country. Over the last few episodes, we've been exploring the journey of Britain. In episode 2, we asked the question, what makes Britain Britain? In episode 3, we looked at how Britain built its freedoms through centuries of history, law, and political development. And in episode 4, we explored how different cultures live together within a shared society and the importance of balance between diversity and unity. Today, I want to talk about something that sits right at the centre of British civilization, something that many people live under every day but rarely think about, the law of the land. Because long before modern politics, long before many modern institutions, Britain developed something extraordinary, a legal tradition known as common law, also God's law, nature's law, law of the land. A system of justice built not simply on the decisions of rulers, but on principles, precedent, and the idea that law should apply to everyone equally. Some people throughout history even describe these principles as reflecting natural law, the idea that justice and fairness are rooted in deeper moral truths. And understanding that tradition helps us understand why Britain has had such an enormous influence on legal systems across the world. Common law and the British legal tradition. Common law is one of Britain's greatest contributions to global civilization. Unlike systems where laws are created entirely by rulers or written codes, common law developed gradually through court decisions and legal precedent. Judges looked at previous rulings and applied consistent principles to new situations. Over time, this created a legal system built around ideas such as equality before the law, fair trials, protection of all individuals' rights, and accountability of authority. In other words, the law was not meant to serve rulers alone, it was meant to serve justice. This idea became one of the foundations of British democracy. And because of Britain's historical influence around the world, common law spread widely. Today, legal systems influenced by British common law exist in countries such as the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, and many parts of Africa and Asia. In other words, the British legal tradition helped shape legal thinking across a large part of the modern world. But maintaining the rule of law requires something important: consistency. The law must apply equally to everyone, and the legal framework of a country must remain coherent and clear. Throughout history, societies have faced challenges when different legal or political ideologies attempt to operate outside the established legal framework of the state. When multiple competing systems of authority develop within one country, it can and will create confusion and instability. That is why most modern democratic states emphasize the principle that the law of the land applies equally to everyone who lives within it. And protecting that principle has been central to Britain's legal tradition for centuries. Now, in regards to what's going on in our wonderful nation at the moment when it comes to fairness and recognizing common law, I'm going to share some videos, and as always, I will warn you in advance, they are not nice, they're provocative, they'll wind you up, basically. But I think it's important that we recognize in this political part of today's show that what I'm about to show is only happening because of the failure of our political system, of the injustice in the decisions that are being taken to suppress the people of our land, of all colours and creeds, and form a bias towards an ideology that is not even political at its core. It's religious. It goes against the inherently religious constitution of our land, which is Christianity. I'm going to share my screen. So, first one I'm going to share, just make sure I put it on screen. There we go. It's about Keir Starmer and veterans.
This is Keir Starmer. You probably know him as the most unpopular Prime Minister ever. But did you know he hounded an innocent British veteran through the courts so ruthlessly that Sergeant Richie Catterall tried to take his own life 3 times? In 2007, Starmer went to court and successfully forced the British government to reopen investigations into hundreds of our soldiers. One of them was Sergeant Catterall, who had already been investigated and cleared twice. Now you may be thinking, a man's got to earn a living. But oh no, Starmer did all this for free. He hates our veterans so much that the current Prime Minister of this country sought to ruin the lives of our soldiers in court as a hobby. And it gets worse. Incredibly, the case against Sergeant Catterall relied on a fabricated document forged to frame British troops. In fact, the lawyer who owned the firm who brought these cases with Keir Starmer was ultimately struck off for fraud. Hundreds of brave British soldiers were hounded and had their lives ruined. As a result of Starmer's sick hobby, Sergeant Catterall turned to drink and tragically tried to take his own life on 3 occasions. Any remorse from Starmer? Of course not. In fact, he made his work buddy on these cases, Richard Hermer, his Attorney General. And just last week, he removed immunity from our veterans who served in the Troubles so he could ruin their lives too. Britain urgently needs leaders who love our veterans as much as Starmer hates them. We need leadership who will stand up for British troops, past, present, and future. That's exactly what Prime Minister Farage will do.
For the record, as you all know, if you're watching this, I'm not for reform or Farage. However, it's important to highlight that our current Prime Minister, who is completely has been bought out by Islamists, is doing that to our British veterans who have fought for our country. And this will highlight one of his great friends, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, what Keir Starmer actually allows to be happening in the capital city of our country.
Been doing it again.
Chairman, back to you, because you so annoy me, because this is such an important bloody issue and you will not take it seriously.
This is about the
I'm going back to you, Chairman. Thank you.
And for every right reason, Susan Hall lashes out on him, the dirty, sleazy bastard. so dismissive about this subject again for all the world to see.
Can you just answer the question, please? This is specific. Will you or will you not put money into grooming gangs? You now know what they are because it's been spelt out to you. Will you or will you not? And we're under a clock. Just answer that. It's a yes or no. Will you or will you not fund grooming gang inquiry? Yes or no?
I'd have thought this issue is too serious to play party politics.
Oh,
so
he plays
let
with
me
it all the
respond.
time. Chairman, back to you, because you so annoy me, because this is such an important bloody issue and you will not take it seriously. I'm going back to you, Chairman. Thank you.
Please, everybody, repost this, share it out, share it to your stories. The UK needs to see this. No one should ever vote this bastard ever again. And for the people that do vote him, I mean, who the fuck does vote for this bastard? Sadiq.
So to put things in perspective of what that man is losing his shit about is, admittedly now, there are over 2,000 accepted rape cases of mainly British young white girls by Pakistani, mainly Muslim men. Now, yes, of course, there are plenty of whites, black, Christians, Jews of all sorts that are wrong uns that do stuff to kids that is the worst of the worst. What we're looking at this point, I condemn them just as much as I condemn these people. The issue is that these people that, like I said, over 2,000 accepted rapes reported with proof in our British judicial system. The police have admitted to these cases, and Sadiq Khan and Keir Starmer refuse to put any money into supporting the inquiry of these illegal, in many cases, Muslim men that are coming into our country illegally and raping our kids. Let me show you something else.
Free food. Fuck off. How old are you?
Listen.
13. How old are you, love?
Listen. 1 second.
Go on.
I know their family, okay?
And you give them free food. You should be going home, girls. This time in your fucking, Don't come back, girls. Don't be giving fucking children free food. Don't be giving children free food. Fuck off. Right. Don't.
This place has been known and is under suspicion of being part of the grooming gangs. And this is what they do. These men, they own shops, restaurants, where they feed the kids. They give them drugs. Let me show you something else. This is a migrant, illegal. What it says here is celebrating after stabbing women 23 times with a screwdriver. This man, dancing man, he is being funded by Sadiq Khan and Keir Starmer. Over £5 million of British taxpayers' money every single day goes in to feeding these sorts of people, putting them up in hotels where they've got on-site doctors. How long does it take your mum or your nan or your family to get seen by a GP or in A&E? Dentists on site, martial arts instructors on site. Watch this. He's just stabbed. So this young lad, clearly not ethnically white English, the lad, it says here, the slogan is, I got pressed for wearing an England shirt in London. So this is just a young lad, non-English of ethnicity, but obviously proud to be a Briton and wear his England shirt. Watch this.
Yeah, bro.
I saw you were in England.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Why you on Ethiopia?
We're in England, bro.
Why you on Ethiopia?
We're in England, bro.
Bro, I was watching the stream. You were trying to be racist.
We're in England, bro.
You were trying to be racist.
We're in England, bro.
You were trying to be racist.
We're literally in England. Are we not in England?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't say
He
illegal
was.
immigrants.
Yes, he was, bro. Yes, he was, bro.
Nah, bro.
Yes, you was,
No,
bro.
I wasn't, bro.
You was. Now you're trying to act up for the stream.
I'm not acting up for nothing.
You
You're
are.
the one acting up.
You are.
Bro. You're the one acting up.
You are.
It's not even COVID no more, bro. What's going on?
So what? Are you going to tell me? Are you going to...
Why is that relevant? Because these kids that are walking around our streets like that, hooded up, Sadiq Khan won't even mention them, won't even talk about the problem that we've got in London with knife crime being at its highest ever. Right. What else we got here? Let's put this one on. The definition of Islamophobia.
No. Why should one religion have extra protections over others? I've sat on this sofa for 4 years. I've mentioned the Church of England, Catholic priests, and religion for the child sex abuse within the church. I've called out the Archbishop. I've called out the church for covering up this child abuse. Does that make me a Christianophobe? No, it doesn't. I'm an atheist. But why should one religion have extra protections? If we talk about immigration and maybe the migrant hotels, yes, many of them turn out to be Muslim. We're not outside protesting because of their faith, but things like this could turn that into like an Islamophobe offence. It's not the case. I do worry about free speech. There is no need. As you said, there's already a law that protects people from being targeted for their religion. I'm an atheist, but I believe people's right to believe in whatever they want and to be able to practice their faith wherever they want. There is nothing Islamophobic about calling out grooming gangs or rape gangs where the people were Muslims. So at the end of the day, we have to be very careful that this isn't a shield to people that want to use it to stop any criticism of people within their community.
Why is that relevant? Because Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, in that clip I showed you where Susan Hall is pressing him, you can see she's nearly in tears of frustration because 2 or 3 of those meetings ago where he sits there in front of all them people, he basically said he didn't even know what a grooming gang was. He didn't even know the definition of a grooming gang. And yet that man, Sadiq Khan, is the first to shout from the rooftops about Islamophobia. He is a keen advocate for bringing in blasphemy laws, not against Jesus, against Allah and the Prophet Muhammad in our country. Let me share this.
They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe culturally and religiously. I mean, to destroy Christianity ultimately in Europe.
That is what they are trying to do in our towns and cities. I've played multiple times the videos where one after the other, you are watching imams in mosques. The Whitechapel Mosque in East London, biggest one in Europe, can hold up to, I believe, 5,000 to 6,000 Muslims at one point. All men, all of fighting age, and they are leading these prayers, chanting for the death of us. The title of today's video, first part, the law of the land, Britain's common law and tradition. In brackets, Islam instructs us to pay or be killed. I'm now going to prove to you irrefutably that Islam, the so-called religion of peace, and bear in mind, people, remember, I've said my disclaimer many times. My kids are mixed race. I'm married to a wonderful woman whose family, whose mother decided it's safer to smuggle her out of Iran around 40 years ago now, because she didn't want her daughter ending up as a young child being married off or taken by these paedophiles under this cult. In fact, you know what? I'm going to share one more thing before we move on to religion, which is definitely relevant to where we're going with this. So this guy, the interviewer, is asking these two proud Muslims about their prophet marrying a 6-year-old. Listen.
Muhammad married.
It was married at 6, consummated at 9.
So she was mature.
So just to be clear, he said it. Prophet married Aisha at 6, consummated, had intercourse at 9 years old. Their prophet.
Mature by 6.
No. Consummated means 9.
Okay, so 9. She was mature by 9.
You know Tanner stages? Yeah, you know in Tanner, biologically, there's something called Tanner stages. Are you aware of this?
Can you explain it?
Can you, before he even goes on, can you see that he's already trying to justify why this is okay with a 9-year-old? A 9-year-old.
Yeah, the Tanner stages is the stages of puberty. You know, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. By stage 4,
that was a common thing even in Europe.
Yeah, even in Europe. Rebecca was 3 in the Bible anyway.
It's like if you have slavery, I mean, slavery was a fairly normal thing in many places in the world. And as conditions change, so do the attitudes and the beliefs and, in the end, the material reality. So we have to look at the material conditions more so than ideology, because most people think that the society is driven.
So slavery and marrying 6-year-olds was okay back then, but not now? Is that kind of your...
It depends on not just the time, but the place.
It depends on not just the time, but the place.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that? This is what we're up against. Now, today's religious segment is I'm going to prove to you, when I've put Islam instructs to pay or be killed, I'm first going to play this, which is in a British London mosque. You can hear she sounds as London as anyone. This lady in her fucking letterbox outfit. Yeah, listen to what she says. Now, she is specifically talking about something in Islam which is called the jizya, which is a humiliation tax that is enforced on non-Muslims. And if you refuse to pay this tax, well, let's hear from this wonderful female Islamic teacher what happens to me and you who refuse to pay their humiliation tax. And for the record, this is all under Sharia law. This is what they are trying to get in the UK. Not what was happening back then, it's going to change now. No, they want this Sharia law, underage marriages, first cousin marriages, which Keir Starmer refused to block, by the way. First cousin marriages, another big part of this ideology. Listen to this woman. So this is all about, like I said, it's called the jizya. Listen to what she says.
Okay, let's quickly go to rights of the non-Muslims.
Let's quickly go to the rights of the non-Muslims.
If they say, I don't want to pay jizya, which is a small amount of tax, then they will be vanished, they will be kicked out. Or
so, first of all, we'll be banished or kicked out of our own country. First of all, that's one of the consolations.
They will have the choice, either convert to Islam
or convert to Islam.
Or if you don't want to be kicked out, then you will be killed.
Or if you don't want to be kicked out of our own country, we'll be killed. This ain't an old video. This is what is going on right now in thousands of mosques, not just in our country. If you've watched the previous episodes, I've been showing you Germany, Italy, Canada, Australia, America.
Okay, so what do you want to do? You'll be given the choice. What do you want to do?
Every time I talk about Islam being an extremist religion, people attack me because I am spreading misinformation. This is not an extremist religion. It is just the people that are extremists, radicals. Would you categorize this woman as an extremist, or would you actually come to the realization that it is the religion that is the problem? This woman is not like speaking from her head or something. This is what the Quran teaches. She actually said we gave them a choice, convert to Islam or die. Does that sound like a religion that is capable of coexisting with the rest of humanity?
Okay, let's.
So, what that wonderful young lady said at the end as well about, and like I said, anything, like, don't get me wrong, my ego's going off massively. I could say so much now out of anger and out of hate, because for all what my ego says is the right reasons, but it's not. I don't need to do that. I am now going to prove what that woman said at the end in regards to the fact that it's not even a problem with Islamists. This is what they're taught in their religion. Sorry, shout out to everyone in chat, by the way. By any means, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I will. We need our men back. Yeah, bang on up north. Bang on, and that's what this is all about. Right. Bear with me. So, everything I'm about to quote, everything, I'm going to give you the references, so that if you need to look it up yourself, if you're doubting any of this, you can do it for yourself. Right. Now, in Islam, you have something called the Hadiths. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Quran. The Quran is their Bible. It's their holy book. And again, I always remind you, what is the Quran for them? Word for word, the recitation of God's word, Allah's word, through their illiterate paedophile of a prophet who got this message apparently in a cave with no one else around, Prophet Momo the pedo. Yeah? That is what the Quran is, first and foremost. That is it might sound like I'm taking a piss. I'm not. I'm mocking it because it's evil, but that is the foundations of Islam. An illiterate man that used to be a market trader, that wasn't trusted, that went into a cave one day. He thought he got possessed. This is all in the Quran. He thought he got possessed. He goes home and his wife says, no, Momo, you wasn't possessed. You're a prophet. That's how it started. And everything that's written in the Quran and what I'm about to share now was the foundations of exactly what I've just shared with you there. Right. So here is a factual, source-based list of the main Quranic verses and hadiths that commonly bring up debates on the jizya, which is the fighting of non-Muslims, and jihad, which is the war against anything non-Muslim. The clearest Quranic verse on the jizya is Surah chapter 9, verse 29. It explicitly commands fighting those who do not believe from among those who were given the scripture until they pay the jizya, willingly submitting, fully humbled. So basically, they're told to get rid of us unless we pay the money and are completely humbled by the humiliation tax. The clearest hadith that ties the refusal of paying the jizya tax to armed force is the Sahih Muslim. Now, the Sahih Muslim is top level authenticated, no Muslims will argue. So if you quote this to a Muslim, they cannot say, oh, no, that's not the case. This specific one is Sahih Muslim 1731 A to B. In that report, Muhammad instructs commanders to invite enemies to Islam first, and if they refuse, then ask them to pay the tax, the jizya, and if they refuse, seek Allah's help to kill them, to fight them. In chapter, I'm just going to reel these off again, so people, you can check this stuff if you want to. Chapter 9, verse 5 in the Quran. Kill capture, besiege the polytheists. That's us. Quran chapter 8, verse 39. Fight until religion is for Allah. So rid the land of anyone other than people that believe in Allah. Quran chapter 4, verse 89. Seize and kill them wherever you find them. Quran chapter 47, verse 4. Strike necks in battle, then bind captives. That actually refers to when they enslave the captives from war. And I've done another show on this where it talks about coitus interruptus, where the soldiers go to Prophet Momo, the pedo, and say, Momo, we're missing our wives. Can we take these women? But we don't want to make them pregnant because after we take them, we grape them, we want to sell them. So Momo introduces them to something called coitus interruptus. He says, it's fine as long as you pull out. Quran chapter 8, verse 12. Strike their necks and their fingertips. Quran chapter 9, verse 73 and chapter 66, verse 9. Strive against disbelievers and hypocrites. Be firm and harsh with them. Sahih al-Bukhari, which is their top level hadith, 25. And Sahih Muslim, 22. Commanded to fight people until they testify, pray, and pay zakat. Sahih Muslim 173, 1a, the book of Jihad and expeditions, narrated by Suleiman ibn Buraida. When the messenger of Allah appointed a commander over an army or expedition, he instructed him to fear Allah. When you meet your enemies among the polytheists, that's us, invite them to 3 courses of action. Invite them to Islam. They accept it from them and refrain from fighting them. So if they say, become a Muslim, and we go, all right, go on then, we get let go. If they refuse, then ask them to pay the jizya. Then we have to pay the humiliation tax. If they agree to pay, accept it from them and refrain from fighting them. If they refuse, then seek Allah's help and fight them. Kill us. Sahih al-Bukhari 25. The Messenger of Allah said, I have been commanded to fight the people until they testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Establish prayer and pay zakat. If they do so, their blood and property are protected from me except by the right of Islam, and their reckoning will be with Allah. I could go on and on and on. The point is, people, irrefutably, Islam is the religion of war, not of peace. In the UK currently, you have got thousands and thousands of fighting-aged men, many of them illegally here, that are in mosques up and down our country that are planning jihad. They are being indoctrinated, brainwashed every single time they enter those mosques. They chant. I've played the videos. They are chanting, Allah, kill every one of them. Do not stop until you've removed every single one. Humiliate them. Annihilate them. And then think about what you've seen on the streets recently. Think about the videos that I've shown on here. We are seeing acted out what they're being instructed to do within their core doctrines of their religion. For the record, I say it again, I'm not claiming religion, but I did grow up in a Christian, constitutionally Christian country, England, surrounded by wonderful English people with wonderful morals, surrounded by wonderful Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, Somalis, Jamaicans, Africans. I grew up with every type of culture and I loved it. It was peaceful. We all got on. But something's changed. Over these years, the British lion has been asleep. We've been passive. We've been so scared of becoming this racist label that all of us know we're not racist. I grew up with plenty of mates that I didn't care what color they were. I didn't care what religion they were. I didn't care. We got on. We went football together. We ate together. We had birthdays together. But we've been forced into the position where we are now, whereby if we don't do something about it now, within the next 30 years, our country will become an Islamic state. They are gunning for it. They head up. The UK's education board is headed up by an Islamist. You had a guy up in Scotland, an Islamist, strong, thick Scottish accent, talking about how the days of Islam and Muslims being quiet and not, how did he word it? Not interfering, not leading, basically not leading in these fields is gone. We're now here to take over. We're now here to teach the kids in the schools what we believe. It's already happening. I've played videos where you've got Muslim women in all the get up, in Christian schools, having little white kids, English kids bowing down and praying. This is happening now. This ain't fear mongering. This ain't a call for arms or war. No, it's a call to fucking wake up. This is wrong. And bear in mind, for me, why is this so important? Because if this comes in, and again, all the credence in the world is look at Iran. Shared this many times. I have to do the podcast with my wife, actually. I've got to get that done. My wife, she's proof of what I'm talking about. Look at Iran at the minute. That is 47 years of Islam being pushed on them, women being raped, children being raped. I talked in the last show about the prayer that these men, where is it? Let me just quickly remind you what that's called. Siger. Okay? There is a prayer called Siger where these Islamist men in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s will take underage girls. I mean, their prophet married a 6-year-old. So for them, it's perfectly holy. They will take a small child, go to the mosque, do a prayer, give a little backhander to the cleric, to the imam, to do this prayer, which for the next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, enables them to be legally married under Allah so he can get his end away, the dirty pedo, and then divorce them afterwards with nothing needed.
Can I have a to that?
My wife wants to have some, please.
They don't want to do that with kids, but when they go to the holy trips in Mecca, they do that with women there and also kids. So prostitution is wrong, but under Syria it's right for them.
So my wife basically said in the holiest time of Mecca, that Siger prayer in Mecca is used, basically, it's religious prostitution. Because they can just go in, say the prayer, under God's law, Allah's law, they can then do the dirty, then come out, see you later, love, there you go. It is sick. And in the UK, the grooming gangs, which is why all of this, everything on all of these shows, I promise you, I do actually put effort into linking it. I can't make it land. Either you'll see the jigsaw pieces in front of your face or you won't. I can't make you see it. And I'm not asking you to believe what I'm saying. I'm just sharing with you what is going on. Everything I showed you is video evidence. You saw it. The Islamic verses, I've given you the verses. Go and have a look. Go and have a look. Make your own decisions. But my point is, what we're seeing in the UK, and shout out to Tommy Robinson, what's been going on, where they target young white girls, young Sikh girls, young non-Muslim girls, because they see them as kafar. And as in one of my previous shows, the first one, I spoke about, again, under Quranic law, they state whatever the right hand possesses is fair game. So they can have 4 wives and they can have as many dirty kafar little white girls as they want. This is what we're up against. Up north, Islam will destroy our children's future if it's not stopped. It's literally moving down on. Yeah, 100%, 100%, 100%. Please like and subscribe to the channel, people. Please share these videos, because I'm not trying to get this in. This ain't a nice subject to talk about, and I'm not trying. Believe me, I'm not trying to get famous off it. The only point is, I feel a bit detached and useless because I moved out of the UK. So at least I can at least share, hopefully, some information. And I know it's landed with some people because people have reached out to me privately, thanked me, which I'm not doing it for that, but I'm just glad if it makes you feel all right and validates how you're feeling through someone else talking about what you're seeing and witnessing, but feel you can't say, then I'm fucking winning by just doing that. Even if it's one person, that's what this is all about. So please share these videos to educate. I had to educate myself. I'm not talking to you from a place of authority, not at all. I'm sharing with you. I just want you to look. I want you to empower yourself, because at some point it is going to kick off. And I'm not encouraging that. You just got to be, it's already kicking off. How many more concerts, little girls getting blown up? Ariana Grande. How many more dancing studios where, can you imagine the fear in those little girls as these horrific scumbags come in and start stabbing in these dance groups, these little girls? How many more sexual assaults and rapes of one of our little kids is it going to be before people actually turn around and say, do you know what? Fuck this. And then it's all going to go off. So for me, it's important we know what we're up against, because we are up against a political system that has been raped by Islam. Labour is an Islamic government bought by Islam. In fact, every single party other than three, and Reform is definitely, Farage is a Nigel Fassad. He's the worst of the lot because he's like a sheep in, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Look at all the things he's changed his mind on now. Reform. No more mass deportation. We need these cunts out. We need to stop letting them in, and we need them out. He said no to that. We can't do that anymore. Bollocks. Look what Trump did in America. Whatever you think of Trump, look what he did in America. Because he listened to the people. He said, no, fuck this. None of yous are coming in. Advance UK, UKIP, Restore Britain. They're the only three political parties that 1,000,000%, we need one of them to get. Hopefully they can come together. I really hope they could come together. But either way, any one of them, we need to get into power, because that's how we win, people. We've got the numbers. We've got the numbers. We don't need to take up arms. That might be a last resort, but for now, we can just take up a vote. We outnumber these people like 90% to fuck even less. 95%. There's only 6% of the UK are Muslim. That's 94% of us. All we need to do is fucking vote. Labour won the last election with one of the lowest vote counts in history. So if you're thinking, oh, what can we do? We can fucking vote. Get into power. And listen, I'm not saying, I'm not a political person. The only reason I'm talking about this now is this is how we can claim back our country, is we need to get someone in leading the country that gives a fuck about us, about our veterans, about our culture, about our way of living, about our principles, about our morals. That's what we need. Yeah, you're bang on. The country's on a knife edge at the moment. It really is. As always, I just want to finish off. These shows are always split into three parts. First part is the political part. I'll always talk about Britain and its heritage. Second part, religious part, will always be about Islam. Because at the minute, for those who go, why you can't mix the two, are you fucking blind? We're not up against politics. We're up against a fucking religion that is using our political system. And the last part of every single show, which is what I'm going to get into now, is my coaching element. Because outside of talking about this crap for a living, what I actually do is I help people in layman's help themselves to feel happier in themselves. So at the end of all of these shows, I will always touch on a topic. And for today's topic, it's simple. It's principles in nations and principles in life. So I want to finish today by bringing this back to something I often talk about in my coaching work, principles. Because just as societies need principles, so do individuals. When someone lives without principles, life becomes chaotic. Decisions become inconsistent. People lose trust. But when someone lives by clear values, honesty, responsibility, fairness, their life becomes more stable. The same is true for nations. Countries need strong institutions, clear laws, and shared principles that guide how people live together. Britain's long legal tradition was one attempt to create that kind of structure, and understanding that history helps us appreciate the institutions we live under today. Because history isn't just something that happened long ago, it shapes the systems we live under every single day. And as I always say, you are the only you that ever was, is, and will be. Only you can become the best version of you. And always remember, you are enough. And that's all you need. Have a fantastic day, people, whatever you're doing. Please, be kind to yourself. Appreciate the opportunity you've been given to be you. And let's take our country back. Please vote.
King Charles, where are you? Your people are shouting, crying, begging for help, and yet you stand silent while this country is torn apart. What good is a crown if it doesn't defend the nation? What good is a king if he will not stand with his people? This land is not theirs to destroy. It belongs to the people, the workers, the mothers, the fathers, the veterans, the builders, the farmers. We carried this island through wars, through hardship, through centuries of struggle, and we will not watch it be handed away by weak men in suits. Your duty is not to them, Charles. It is to us, to Britain, to the very soul of this nation. If you will not rise, if you will not speak, then you will show the people that the crown has become nothing but decoration. So hear us now. Your people demand action. We demand a king who protects his country. Britain is calling, Charles. Answer, or history will remember your silence.